Now, our next keynote address will be a combination of two worthy speakers. Now, let me introduce you the first speaker, Dr. Shyam Sunder. He is the current president of CIB, the director of Building and Fire Research Laboratory, National Institute of Standards and Technology in the United States. Dr. Sunder holds an undergraduate degree from the Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and master's and doctor of science degrees from Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Dr. Chulan also co-chairs the Buildings Technology and R&D Subcommittee of the President's National Science and Technology Council and serves on the boards of the Construction Industry Institute, CII, and the International Council for Research and Innovation in Building and Construction, CIB. He is with the National Earthquake Hazards Reduction Program and leads the Federal Building and Fire Safety Investigation of the World Trade Center disaster in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks of September 11, 2001. And together with Dr. Sunder is Professor Dr. Engineer Win Bakens. Professor Dr. Win Bakens graduated in 1975 as architectural engineer from University of Technology in Eindhoven, the Netherlands, where he in 1992 also successfully finalized his PhD study with a dissertation on the future of construction. After having been employed for about 7 years at the Dutch Ministry for Housing, Construction and Physical Planning, where he was responsible for building and construction-related research and regulatory systems. He also was coordinator of the CIB Working Commission W082, Future Studies in Construction. In that position, he was the main author of the CIB publication entitled Future Organization of Building Process. He is also the Secretary General of CIB. Let us all welcome both Dr. Shyam Sunder and Professor R. Win Bakens on stage. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And let me very quickly, first of all, express on behalf of CIB our appreciation to all of the folks who have hosted this week-long program for us, starting with Mr. Zuhairi Hamid from the CREAM, as well as the chair of CREAM, and then the chair of CIDB, and the Minister of Works from Malaysia, who has been a very, very gracious host and has welcomed us with open arms on Monday at dinner and also today. I also want to express our appreciation for the top leadership of the Works Ministry as well as the top leadership of Sim Darby for giving us an extraordinarily educational and informative tour of all the projects that were just described this morning, as well as for our dinner yesterday evening. And then, of course, on, I think it was Tuesday afternoon that we got to visit the Petronas Towers, one of your landmark construction projects that was extraordinarily impressive. And I think I speak on behalf of the entire group that is assembled here from CIB that we have thoroughly enjoyed your hospitality and your culture, as well as the many technical accomplishments that we have been able to see. With that brief introduction, I'd like to give you some sense of the overall strategic priorities of CIB and our overall mission. The mission of CIB is to promote and facilitate research and innovation on priority themes of regional and global significance for building and construction. And we do this by serving as a source of broad-based authoritative information and as a forum for international collaboration. You have seen the engagement we've had here with your industry, as well as a full member CEO meeting forum that we had yesterday with a number of companies from Malaysia as well as from the Asian region. The focus of our work is really to enhance quality of life, sustainability, and economic prosperity. This has been a theme of CIME for a number of years, so it's not new. For the period from 2013 through 2016, our priority focus areas are resilience, resilient urbanization, sustainable construction, and I'm going to call it smart cities, although formally we call it integrated design and delivery solutions. So if you look at those three priorities and look at all the talks you heard this morning from the minister's talk all the way down to the most recent talk, as well as the priorities listed on the conference, you will see that we are fully aligned with what you're trying to do here in Malaysia. Of course, how we decide on these priorities is at the intersection of societal needs, advancing research, and of course the integration of critical technologies into the construction and building sector. So we identified three major societal needs for this period. Urbanization of communities, you are seeing this in the Kuala Lumpur region for sure. Infrastructure that is needed for a 21st century economy is throughout the world. This is a need in the developing world. There's one kind of need. In the developed world, there's a different kind of need, but they're all, both parts of the world actually have a critical need for infrastructure. And housing is an issue in all parts of the world as well. In the developing world, the focus is on low-income housing to some degree, where you have large populations, but also middle-class housing and upper-middle-class housing. In the developed world, particularly in certain countries where our population is aging, and we have a separate set of needs, because traditional homes, multi-level homes, don't really work very well for a house which only has older people. We are positioned to help through research, and so the types of research that our members work on are sustainability and energy efficiency, health, safety, and disaster resilience, and building and construction technology and processes. Just let me give you how critical these topics are for the construction industry. You've heard why, in this country we are focusing on sustainability and resilience. The construction, the built environment uses, as was mentioned earlier on, 40% of the energy. It also represents roughly 40% of the carbon that is being released. The building sector, the residential part of the building sector, not the commercial, is about 20%. So both the commercial and the residential sector are equally split in carbon use as well as energy use. And as an illustration, let me tell you that cement and concrete is a very critical part of that carbon use. Globally, cement production represents about 4% of carbon, 4 to 5% globally. And in cement, there are two sources of carbon that is used. One is the energy used for cement production, which of course you can try to make those plants more efficient. But it's equally important, roughly half of that, in fact, is calcination of the limestone, which you cannot avoid, however efficient your production process for cement is. Now it turns out that cement production is increasing globally, particularly due to our growth in countries like China, where cement production has hugely increased, and projected growth in countries like India, where the cement production is also increasing, and I'm sure the Asian region where you have a lot of development also contributes to that, the new production of cement. So among the solutions that we have to think about are, of course, efficient production of cement, power consumption, but also maybe better use of industrial waste products so that we are mixing that with the cement with things like fly ash or blast furnace slag, so we can reduce the carbon content. So that's the embodied energy or embodied carbon part of the solution. Then there is also the operational energy in running a building, which is the electrical consumption associated or gas consumption that might be associated in a home or in a building. For air conditioning would be a big part in Malaysia, not the heating system probably as much, which is a big deal in the European countries and America, in Japan and so forth, China. So I think this area of sustainability and energy efficiency is important in ways that are make sense to the business, because what you want to be able to do is achieve efficiency in energy without too much of a cost premium on the facility that you're producing or delivering to your customer. The second piece is health, safety, and resilience. When we had our conversation with CEOs from the local region, we found the same types of issues that you're concerned with, which is construction safety is certainly one issue. Health aspects of the environment is certainly another issue. And resilience is, I think, the most important issue. Malaysia has obviously the impacts of forest fires. You had earthquake a few months ago, and also you had a tsunami several years ago. So as a country, this region does have issues associated with resilience. What exactly do we mean by resilience? If you look at it globally, including the United States, where we have hurricanes and so on, one of the issues we face is when we think in terms of hurricanes in the classical sense, typhoons, we think in terms of designing for the wind. Separately, sometimes we think in terms of designing for the storm surge or the water. We rarely think about designing for both events together. Hurricane Sandy, which took place in New York City in 2012, same issue. The wind speeds were not that great, but what was really important about Hurricane Sandy was the water, the flooding, the storm surge in the communities, including Manhattan, which shut down the metro system, it shut down the power system for many days. Fukushima in Japan was an earthquake, a very large earthquake. Japan is very used to designing for earthquakes, but what was the key issue there was water. Again, it was the water that led to the flooding of the power plant in Fukushima, which took down, therefore released the radiation, and now we're seeing some of the consequences of these types of events. So what we're talking in terms of resilience is not the classical engineering design, which is a hazard by hazard, component by component design of the system, but in fact it is about designing the entire system, it is about the system of systems, and then the impact on the communities. So it is this kind of a look that we are trying to look at when we think of resilience. And finally, all of this is going to be possible through advances in technology. Clearly, we have a number of advanced technologies that we're considering, and I will not get into the details of all the technologies, but I do want to give you one aspect of this technology space which I think holds great potential for the future. And that has to do with everything to do with information technology, sensor networks, wireless communications, smart materials, and overall what people are calling cyber physical systems or Internet of Things, which will change the complete nature in which we as communities, we as societies actually live and are connected with each other and within our communities and between our communities, nationally and globally. And this is going to change the very nature of what we think in terms of our communities, of our buildings, and our infrastructure. This chart is a little busy, but it basically talks about the classical physical systems, which are machines, facilities, infrastructure, fleets, people, and then you have the cyber systems, data, communication, sensing, monitoring, wireless analysis, and you combine those two, and the purpose, the benefit of looking at it in this way is it is going to help us with efficiency and sustainability. It is going to help us with agility and flexibility, reliability and resilience, as well as safety and security. All of those benefits are going to derive from if we look at this emergence of technology in a whole new different way. And this is why, I think the area of smart cities, which by the way is not something new, it is being looked at in the developed world. If you look at Europe, in America, we're talking about smart cities. We're also talking about smart cities in Asia. India, for example, has an ambition to create 100 smart cities. At this present time, the US and India are thinking about how we can work together on smart cities. So I have a feeling that this idea of smart cities is going to be of global importance into the coming decade. And I think we as an industry have to be leading this, to use the same analogy that our gentleman from Sydney Derby was using, as opposed to being followers. We have to actually lead. To start, we at the National Institute of Standards and Technology in the United States have established a testbed where for the concept of cyber physical systems. We are looking at a number of aspects of this, including firefighting and emergency response. So in summary, I think what I want to leave the message here is that CIB is the intention of CIB is to be a major force of positive change in the construction and in society, and we'd love for engaging with local regions like Malaysia. I know Zuhairi Hamid is very much interested in building such a regional activity within the Asian region here, and we look forward very much to partnering with that regional activity here in the Asian region, in Malaysia. So with this, I will turn it over to my colleague,